Stored electrical energy in a capacitor. In chapter 4, the chapter of the potential and energy, we already proved that the stored energy in electric field can be obtained as half the integration over the volume epsilon multiplied by the magnitude of the electric field squared, and we perform this integration over the volume. So if we can apply this rule on the capacitor, we can say that in the case of the parallel plate capacitor, for example, we already proved that the electric field between the two plates is rho surface over epsilon naught in the direction. So the magnitude of the electric field in this case is rho surface over epsilon. So the stored electric energy would be half the integration over the volume of the capacitor epsilon E squared dV, and E squared here would be rho surface squared over epsilon squared multiplied by epsilon, and the volume in this case would be the surface area of the plate ds multiplied by the distance dz. So effectively the integration here, and because this is constant with respect to dz and ds, so would be simply half rho surface squared over epsilon multiplied by the surface area of the capacitor multiplied by the distance between the two plates. Or in other words, we can say that multiplied by the volume of the capacitor. Okay? Alright. But we already have proved that our capacitor C was Q over V, and V naught was rho surface over epsilon naught or over epsilon multiplied by D. So we can replace half rho surface squared over epsilon multiplied by SD as half epsilon multiplied by S over D. So I have divided by D, so I can multiply by another D, so D squared rho surface, and I have multiplied by epsilon, so it would be epsilon squared here. Alright? Okay. Now, rho surface over epsilon D is actually the potential V. So this is half epsilon S over D multiplied by V naught squared. But the value epsilon multiplied by the surface area over the distance between the two plates is effectively the capacitance. So in this case, we can say that the stored electric energy equals half the capacitance multiplied by the potential difference squared. The stored electric energy equals half the capacitance multiplied by the potential difference squared. Now, if we say that the capacitance is Q over V naught, so half Q over V naught multiplied by V naught squared can be resembled as half Q multiplied by V naught. Or in other words, we can say that V equal Q over C. So in this case, we can say that the stored energy is half the capacitance multiplied by Q over C squared. So it can be simplified as half Q squared over C. So these are the three forms for the stored electric energy inside the capacitor. Effectively, we are interested basically in this form. It is half the capacitance multiplied by the potential difference between the two plates, because effectively the potential is the unit which can be measured, or the value which can be measured physically. So the stored electric energy is half the capacitance multiplied by V squared. Okay, we already derived the capacitance for a parallel plate capacitor separated by dielectric material. What will be the situation if we have two series dielectric materials, such that the separation between plate 1 and plate 2, we have two dielectrics arranged in series, epsilon 1 and epsilon 2, where epsilon 1 is d1 and epsilon 2 is d2, and the total separation is d equals d1 plus d2. Effectively, in this case, the charge density on the plate would be the same, but the electric field displacement along the two dielectrics would not be the same, because the electric field displacement depends on the dielectric constant. So in this case, as we mentioned in the dielectric, d normal 1 equals d normal 2, or in other words, epsilon 1 multiplied by the electric field 1 equals epsilon 2 multiplied by electric field 2. And effectively, we are talking about Ez, which is normal to the interface between these two dielectrics. In this case, the potential difference between the two plates equals the electric field 1 multiplied by distance 1 plus the electric field 2 multiplied by distance 2. So this is the total potential between the two plates in this case. And the relation between E1 and E2 is epsilon 1 multiplied by E1 equals epsilon 2 multiplied by E2. So in this case, we can say that the electric field E1 in terms of the potential and electric field E2, we can replace E2 by E1 multiplied by epsilon 1 over epsilon 2. So we will remove this E2 and we put instead of it epsilon 1 over epsilon 2 E1 multiplied by D2, and we will take E1 as a common factor. So we can obtain the electric field E1 as V naught over D1 plus D2 multiplied by epsilon 1 over epsilon 2. This electric field is coming from the lower plate E1. Okay, and this electric field, if I multiplied it by epsilon naught, would be the d normal on the plate 1, which corresponds to the row surface. So row surface 1 equals d1 equals epsilon 1 multiplied by E1. So row surface 1, or the surface charge at the lower plate, equals V naught. We have multiplied by epsilon 1 here. So we can make the denominator as the denominator of the denominator. So V naught over D1 over epsilon 1 multiplied by D2 over epsilon 2. Okay. This actually is the surface charge density in the lower plate. And actually, it is the same as the surface charge density on the upper plate. You can prove in the same steps the value of raw surface charge on the upper plate. You will find it exactly the same value. Okay. Now this surface charge density multiplied by the surface area S corresponds to the value of the Q. And we already have proved that V naught equals E1 plus E2, E1D plus E2D. And so we have C would equal Q over V naught, and Q here would be rho surface 1 multiplied by the surface area. So this value V naught multiplied by the surface area over D1 over epsilon 1 plus D2 over epsilon 2. This is Q. This value over V naught, so V naught will be taken with V naught. So in this case, the capacitance would be 1 over D1 over epsilon 1s plus D2 over epsilon 2s. Effectively, if we looked at this result, we can imagine that we have two capacitors. A capacitor related to the first dielectric and another capacitor related to the second dielectric. And the capacitor related to the first dielectric is effectively epsilon 1 multiplied by the surface area over D1. And the capacitor related to the second dielectric is epsilon 2 multiplied by the surface area over D2. So in this case, when these two capacitors are connected in series, the total capacitance equals 1 over C1 plus 1 over C2. Okay? And this is the rule of connecting capacitors in series. So that's what we are seeing. If we imagine that we have the capacitance of the first plate is epsilon 1s over D1, and the capacitance of the second dielectric is epsilon 2s over D2. So the value of the capacitance that we have obtained is effectively 1 over C1 plus 1 over C2, as if we have two capacitors in series in this case. Alright? The question now, what will be the situation if the dielectric material is separated in parallel instead of in series? So in this case, the total surface is divided in two surfaces, surface 1 and surface 2. So if we have surface charge density, so the total charge on surface 1 is rho surface 1 multiplied by surface 1, and the surface charge on surface 2 would be rho surface 2 multiplied by surface 2. And both surface 1 and surface 2 are separated from the corresponding one by distance d. So in this case, the potential between the plates S2, S2 is the same as the potential difference between S1 and S1. So the potential is constant either in the first dielectric or the second dielectric. So we say that E1 equals E2 equals the potential difference V naught over the distance d. But the surface charge density here is different from the surface charge density V. Why? Because epsilon here is different from epsilon here. So rho surface 1, the surface charge density in the area 1, would be D1, which corresponds to epsilon 1 multiplied by the electric field E1. So the charge on the surface 1, Q1, would correspond to rho surface 1 multiplied by surface 1. So it would be epsilon surface 1 multiplied by the electric field V naught over D. Similarly, we can prove that the charge on the surface 2 is Q2 equal rho surface 2 multiplied by surface 2. In this case, rho surface 2 would be epsilon 2 multiplied by the electric field V naught over D multiplied by the surface 2. Now the total charge on the upper plate would be Q1 plus Q2. Similarly, the total charge in the lower plate would be the same, but in negative sign. Okay? So the total charge in this case would be Q1 plus Q2. And the capacitance is Q over V naught. So we will sum Q1 plus Q2 and divide the result by the value of V naught to obtain the capacitance. In this case, we find out the capacitance is epsilon 1 S1 over D plus epsilon 2 S2 over D. Or in other words, we can say that we have capacitor 1 here, which corresponds to epsilon 1 S1 over D, and capacitor 2 here, epsilon 2 S2 over D. And because they are in parallel, the total capacitance here would be capacitance 1 plus capacitance 2. So this is how the capacitors in parallel will react to each other. Okay? Alright.